Dear students, as per Darwin's theory of evolution, man has evolved from the monkeys. In the process of evolution, his thinking process has also evolved over time. From using hands for obtaining food, he used animals to work for him. As he became more and more intelligent, he started to use mechanical energy from external sources. Carts pulled by bullocks, machines run by animals, etc. One of the important inventions is steam engines, where he used heat energy to get mechanical energy. We use that still now. Our cars, our trains run by that. We know how that has changed our way of living. Transporting coal to weapons to wars, food to medicines. The mechanical energy is obtained from the heat engine. Another such important invention was in the 19th century by John Ampere. In 1935, he wrote a new era in the world of machines. He designed a machine which converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. In this session, we are going to go through the process of designing this machine from what we have already learned in our previous sessions. In the previous session, we learned about obtaining a powerful artificial magnet from electric current.
A current carrying conductor possesses a magnetic field around it. When we change the shape of the straight conductor, we get a circular coil. In the circular coil, the magnetic field lines will be parallel at the center and circular near the wires. When this circular coil is brought into the form of a solenoid, we can get a powerful magnet which resembles that of a bar magnet. The power of this magnet can be controlled using the flow of electric current and number of turns.
As we know that magnets give us mechanical energy when they attract or repel, we find a method to use these powerful artificial magnets to get mechanical energy and to make things move.
We are looking at two magnets kept nearer. These two magnets have their unlike poles facing each other. We know that when these two magnets have their unlike poles, they attract. When they have like poles, they repel each other. That is, when the magnets are brought nearer, they give us mechanical energy either by attraction or by repulsion. In the previous activities, we got a method to get magnetic field out of electricity. Here is a solenoid to which we have supplied electrical energy. We get a magnetic field all around the solenoid. This is one way of obtaining artificial magnets. When an iron core is inserted inside the solenoid, the strength of the magnetic field all around solenoid increases. This magnet or this electromagnet is very much similar to the magnet that we had placed in the first case. This resembles a bar magnet. Now, what we are going to do is, we are replacing one of the magnets in the initial activity with this electromagnet. We know that the ends of electromagnet can act as poles of a bar magnet. So, here are two magnets which are nearby. Like the magnets behave, these also behave. Unlike poles attract each other and like poles repel each other. This is an example of how electricity is used to get mechanical energy. In the first activity, we used magnets, but now we are using electromagnets. That is, we are giving electricity to get magnet. In turn, we are getting mechanical energy.
The direction of plane of magnetic field and the direction of electric current are not the same. They are mutually perpendicular to each other. We have one more direction here, the direction of mechanical force. So, it is important for us to know the direction of mechanical force which is produced now. We can see these types of motor in our toys. These motors are also called as DC motors, which can work on a simple battery. We can connect this DC motor into the terminals of a battery and immediately it starts rotating. See? Notice the direction in which it is rotating. Now I am changing the terminals, that is, I am changing the direction of current flow here. What do we observe? We can observe that the direction of the rotation of the fan also changes. So we can say that the direction of the mechanical force or the rotation depends on the direction of electric current. So we can say that to know the direction of rotation, we should be very sure about the direction of flow of electric current. So there is a relation between the direction of electric current and the direction of rotation. But we also have one more mediator here, the magnet. Therefore, we have three fields. One is the direction of electric current, the direction of magnetic field, and the direction of mechanical force. In order to relate these three, we can get help from the following activities. When two magnetic fields are nearby, they interact with each other to give us mechanical energy. Just few minutes back, we saw that a magnet and an electromagnet kept nearby give us mechanical energy. Here I have taken a battery and I have connected that battery to a straight current carrying conductor, and I have kept the straight current carrying conductor between the two poles of a horseshoe magnet. This straight current carrying conductor is free to oscillate, that is, it can swirl around. The direction of magnetic field and the direction of flow of electric current are perpendicular to each other here. When the switch is on, a current flows through the wire and a magnetic field is created around a straight current carrying conductor. So we can have few directions here. One is the direction of electric current, that is from positive terminal to negative terminal. The other one is the direction of the magnetic field, that is, it is from north pole to south pole. So we have two directions which are mutually perpendicular to each other. So when these two fields interact with each other, that is, the electricity flowing and the magnetic field interact with each other to give us mechanical energy, let us switch on and switch off this switch again and again to find the direction in which the conductor moves. We will do that again and again to find out in which direction the wire is moving. We can find that the conductor is moving into the screen, that is, it is moving away from us. We can mark its direction like this. So all these three are mutually perpendicular to each other. The direction of flow of electric current, the magnetic field, and the direction of motion of the conductor are mutually perpendicular to each other. This is another example to show that a current carrying conductor will give us mechanical energy. A current carrying conductor kept in magnetic field experiences mechanical force. To easily find the direction of mechanical force, we can make a simple rule. Let us look at the simple rule, which is also called as left hand rule or Fleming's left hand rule. Let us stretch the mid finger, forefinger and the thumb finger of our left hand mutually perpendicular to each other, such a way that the forefinger shows the direction of magnetic field. It is showing from north to south. The mid finger is showing the direction of flow of electric current. Then the thumb finger shows the direction of mechanical force or the motion of conductor. So a positive charge which is moving in the direction of mid finger will experience a mechanical force upwards, that is, in the direction of the thumb. This rule is called as left hand rule or Fleming's left hand rule.
This is also known as motor rule. This rule will help us to design a machine which gives us mechanical force by consuming electrical energy.
This will be helpful to design machines because as the direction of electric current changes, the direction of mechanical energy also changes. From the previous activity, we got a practical proof for our logical thinking. We got mechanical energy from electrical energy. A current carrying conductor kept in magnetic field experiences mechanical force. This is the principle of motor. These devices which give us mechanical energy from electrical energy are called motors. So, motor is a device which converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. The type of motion that we are getting here is back and forth motion. But we need kinetic energy which is in the form of rotation because most of our machines rotate. Let's now look how the previous activity can be altered to obtain kinetic energy which is in the form of rotation. Hold a pen in your hand and try to rotate this. To rotate it, we need to apply two forces in different directions. One is pull, another one is push. These two forces which are causing the rotation are called a couple. We can see that in different example as well. The churner that we use to get butter from curd, rotating the tap, etc. These two forces that we give are called couple forces and they cause rotation. So, we use two magnets on one conductor which experiences mechanical energy in the form of rotation. Let's see how.
Here are two poles of a magnet. Through the green lines, we can see that the magnetic field lines are moving from north to south. This is only a representation. So, this representation is shown by the green arrow marks. We are going to place a conductor near the south pole. We know that when current flows through this conductor, it gets a mechanical force acting on it. In fact, this is not the only position in which the conductor can be placed. We can also place the conductor at the other places as well. I'm going to place one more conductor here, which is represented by blue color. One is pink and another one is blue. These two are placed near the two poles of a magnet. Why we have two conductors? Because the poles have equal strength. So we can obtain more mechanical energy at the two places as well. So we have to connect these to a battery. In fact, we can connect these two conductors to the same battery. Here, through the same wires, we have connected both pink and the blue conductors to the same battery. That is, to different terminals of the same battery. Pink is connected to the positive terminal and blue is connected to the negative terminal. And we can see that the current is flowing in the direction of yellow arrow mark here. It is flowing from positive terminal to negative terminal.
We'll place a current carrying conductor in the form of rectangular coil here. It can be of any shape. Now let us forget about the battery. We can think about the battery in the later part. The current is flowing through this direction. Let us take this as a positive terminal and this is negative terminal. The current is flowing in this direction now. This rectangular coil will experience a mechanical force. And to find the direction of the mechanical force acting on this rectangular coil, we can make use of the left hand rule here. At different points of this coil, we can apply Fleming's left hand rule. We have three fingers, thumb, forefinger and mid finger mutually perpendicular to each other. One is representing force, the other one is representing magnetic field, and the mid finger is indicating the direction of flow of current. Now apply this rule to different parts. Let us apply this rule on the pink part of this rectangular coil and find out in which direction the pink part moves. The current is moving into the screen. We can see that the mid finger is showing away from you. The forefinger is showing from north to south and the thumb is pointing upwards. That means the pink part of this rectangular coil will move upwards.
Let us apply the same rule to the blue part of the wire. So this blue part will move downwards. So the other parts, that is the yellow parts, will not experience any force as they are along the side, they are aligned to the direction of magnetic field. Therefore, no force acts on the orange part of the wire, which is helpful for the rotation of the motor. Now we can see the arrow mark here. The upward and the downward direction seen here will make armature rotate. If you take a rectangular, for example, plate, one side is moving outwards and one side is moving inwards. This is called as couple. So a couple, we know that it makes the object to rotate. Here it is moving in the clockwise direction. We can see that the armature or the rectangular coil is moving halfway. At halfway, it won't stop. Due to its momentum, this rectangular coil will come to the position where the pink part comes near the north pole and the blue part comes near the south pole. Here, the terminals of the battery have also changed. The current is flowing in the same direction. It is moving from pink wire to the blue wire. Therefore, now also if we apply left hand rule, we can see that the pink part now moves upwards and the blue part moves downwards. This form of motion is not helpful for us. It is only half rotation. In order to make this armature move completely one rotation, we make the current to flow in the opposite direction. If we make the current to flow in opposite direction, blue part move upwards and the pink part moves downwards. Now again, once it completes half rotation, again the direction of current needs to be changed. If we do not change the direction of current, the armature keeps on rotating half. That is, it starts swirling. It doesn't complete rotation. For this, we need to have a setup where the current keeps on changing the direction. If we make the direction of current changing, we can make the coil rotate in single direction. So next challenge for us is to change the direction of current in every half cycle. If we fix the battery to the armature, once the armature starts rotating, the wires tangle themselves. The wires get twisted. This doesn't help the current to flow in two different directions every half cycle. In order to achieve that, we make a small change in this type of connection, introducing two split rings or commutators. Now we are looking at two half rings. These half rings are attached to the carbon brushes and then to the terminals of the battery through the wires. These brushes are just touching the split rings or commutators. They are not attached. If the split rings rotate along with the commutator, these carbon brushes, they only brush. This solves our problem of wires getting twisted once the armature starts rotating. Here, the pink is now connected to the positive terminal, blue is connected to the negative terminal. That is, the current is flowing through the pink part. Once the armature completes half rotation, now we can see that the pink part is connected to the negative terminal through the carbon brushes and the blue part is connected to the positive terminal through the carbon brushes. Now the current has changed the direction of its flow. Now this current starts flowing through the blue wire. And making it to move in upward direction. See, the blue part moves upwards now and the pink part moves downwards. Once again, if it completes half rotation, the pink part comes in contact with the positive terminal and the blue part comes in contact with the negative terminal. Now the current makes the armature rotate in the same direction. That is, the pink part moves upwards, the blue part moves downwards. As long as the current flows through the armature keeps on rotating. The commutator helps the current to flow in the same direction here, and the armature keeps on rotating in the same direction. This type of motor is called as direct current motor because it uses the battery which doesn't change the terminals. The current flows through the same direction in the external circuit.
This motor is used in many devices nowadays. If you can remember, the mixer grinder, the flour mill or the CD player all use this motor. In fact, you can also easily construct a motor using very simple objects.
This is perhaps the simplest motor on earth. You will require some magnets, a battery, insulated copper wire, some rubber bands. Take 1.5 meters of insulated copper wire and wind it round and round on a battery. There will be 10 or 12 turns, and then you remove the coil like a spring. Take one end and tie a knot and stretch it out. Do the same thing on the other end. Both these ends will be in line with the center of the coil. They would be along the diameter, so there would be equal distribution of weight. With the scissors, trim both these ends so they are just 3 centimeters long. The coil is almost ready, but not quite. Now take a knife and scrape off the insulation on 3 sides from one end. One side would still remain insulated. On the other side, scrape the insulation on all 4 ends, and there will be all copper on this side. This is like the brush or the commutator of the coil is ready now. It has got insulation on one side and copper on the other. On the other side, it's totally copper. This is like the brush or the commutator. Now take 1 centimeter broad rubber bands cut from an old bicycle tube, stretch it on the battery, one across and one along its cylinder. Place a ferrite magnet in one of the rubber bands. Take 2 safety pins and fix them on the 2 ends so that they clutch to the plus and the minus of the battery. The motor is ready now. Take the coil and place it in the 2 holes of the safety pin and give your coil a little kick, and it would start spinning. It is amazing to see this motor spin.
In some devices, we do not use magnets. Instead, we use electromagnets. We use 2 electromagnets. One will be stationary and the other will be free to rotate. Just like a fan. When electricity is given to the fan, one coil rotates, another coil stays stationary.
Now this wire is insulated, and you scrape the insulation completely from one end. You'll see shining copper. On the other side, you just scrape the top, the left and the right, only 3 sides. One side would be totally copper, the other side would be scraped on 3 sides copper, but one side would be insulation. Then you take a sewing machine bobbin and wind insulated copper wire fully on this bobbin. Scrape both the ends to remove the insulation, and you'll see shining copper. When current will flow through this bobbin, it would become like an electromagnet. Now take a 1 centimeter wide rubber band from an old bicycle tube. Take 2 long safety pins and snug them to the plus and the minus of the battery. Now take the bobbin with the wire wrapped upon it, place in the middle of the battery and connect both the ends of the wire to the pins. Now current is flowing through the coil and it has become an electromagnet. Now you keep the moving coil on top. You just need to give it a gentle nudge and the coil will keep spinning.
We can also observe a fan runs faster when the knob is turned. When we turn the knob, we increase the current flowing through the coil. So, we know that when more current flows through the coil, more mechanical energy is obtained. Other ways of obtaining more mechanical energy are given by increasing the number of turns or using multiple armatures. Dear students, after learning so many things, let us go to some questions and find whether we have learned it correct or not.
Here are some questions. The direction of magnetic force acting on moving charged particle in magnetic field is determined by Ohm's law, right hand thumb rule, Fleming's left hand rule, Maxwell's right hand screw rule. The correct answer is Fleming's left hand rule. The instrument which converts electrical energy into mechanical energy is motor, dynamo, galvanometer, transformer. The correct answer is motor. A current carrying conductor kept near a magnetic field experiences mechanical force. How can we increase its displacement from the conductor? A current carrying conductor kept near a magnet experiences mechanical force. How can we increase the displacement of the conductor? By increasing the current in it, by increasing the strength of the magnet, by decreasing the current, both A and B. The correct option is both A and B. Observe the diagram. A current carrying conductor is placed in the magnetic field as shown. In which direction the conductor AB moves after experiencing the mechanical force? Towards north, towards south, into the screen, away from the screen. The answer is into the screen. Commercial motors like fans use which of the following to exert force on the armature? Electromagnet, bar magnet, horseshoe magnet, all the above. The answer is an electromagnet.
Dear students, in this session we started from the fact that a current carrying conductor kept nearby a magnetic field experiences mechanical force. We use different activities to design a motor which converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. Here are some homework questions. Write them down. Write the answers for those questions later. Discuss these answers with your teacher.
Write down these questions for homework. Distinguish between a bar magnet and an electromagnet. Explain the principle and working of an electric motor with the help of a diagram. What is the function of a split ring or commutator in a motor? State Fleming's left-hand rule.
In our next session, we will check whether the vice versa of this process is also true. That is, can we convert mechanical energy into electrical energy?